What's up, everybody? Thank you for all clicking on today's video. The topic we're going to be discussing is PWCC's recent news about a breaker network and kind of my thoughts on what they're doing overall. Thanks for clicking on this video. Like I said, my name is Adam from Herosforsale. Make sure you leave your thoughts in the comments below, like the video if you are new, and hit the subscribe button if you're new as well. So first here, we're going to play this video and then we're going to go to their page and we're going to kind of go over some of the stuff that PWCC announced. PWCC Breaker Network allows collectors of modern product the fastest and most reliable way to get their cards to market. Learn more. So we're going to watch the video and hear Jesse from PWCC explain this a little bit. It's I've talked to Jesse a bunch of times. He's super cool. So we'll hear him talk about maybe what this is a little bit. Then we'll go to their website.
The world of modern trading cards is faced with a challenge. The path from pack to market has long lacked sophistication and liquidity. That results in most assets going unsold, taking up room on desks, in basements, and in closets, and failing to realize its full value. But now there's a solution. Introducing the PWCC Breaker Network, a platform that provides breakers with streamlined liquidity solutions through PWCC. The Breaker Network brings confidence to the world of recently ripped wax. This is done through authentication, condition reports, and technical grades, and a swift path to a marketplace offering safeguards and buyer guarantees. Our authentication partners include Beckett, CSG, CGC, SGC, and MBA. Using these services for raw cards has proven to help achieve higher sales on average. We already have some amazing breakers as a part of the network, and customers who break with our partners can ship their cards directly to their PWCC Vault account where we do all the work. Accurate card identification, shipment management, and single-tier pricing with no upcharge. This means no lengthy forms, no need to manage packages, and no frequent visits to the post office. Let us do the work for you. Are you a breaker? Want to give your clients the power to make more money on the cards they pull from your breaks? Well, join the PWCC Breaker Network today. The link to talk to our partnership team is in the description. And if you're looking to join a break, make sure you reach out to a member of the PWCC Breaker Network today. We can't wait to see your hits.
Great produced video. All minute, they make some great content over at PWCC. So now we're over on their website. If you click that link in their tweet, I'm just gonna bringing streamlined liquidity. Actually, it's kind of pretty much what they talked about. So the PWCC advantage that all trading cards are added to their client's individual PWCC Vault portfolio, which is located in the sales tax-free state of Oregon. I'm not going to get into sales tax and all that kind of stuff. I don't really know about it. I don't understand it. PWCC empowers collectors and investors to offer them immediate access to a robust menu of benefits. You can read all those there. You can pause the video, read them. So what it looks like is that PWCC is basically partnering with these breakers, and they are going to, from what it looks like and what they kind of explain there, it looks like these breakers, essentially you're going to have a PWCC account, and the PWCC account is going to be linked with these breakers, and you can get your cards sent from the breaks to your PWCC Vault. Now, the one thing that I think PWCC has done maybe better than anyone, and has sort of not necessarily revolutionized the industry, because there's been vaults like ComC has been a vault for forever. I think PWCC's higher end vault has been pretty interesting. And, obviously, because since they're a marketplace, you can put your cards from the vault into the marketplace pretty easily. So they made vaulting maybe a little bit more mainstream. Like I said, the ComC has been in the game for a while. You could also, unfortunately, StarStock really isn't really around as much anymore. So ComC is probably the most reliable source. And they're actually partnering with CGC as well. And I think you can get your cards directly graded from your ComC Vault. I'm not sure if they call it that, but you can get your cards basically graded directly from your ComC Vault to CGC, similar to this one. One thing that I did notice in the video I thought was a little bit interesting was that PSA was not on that list of graders. Obviously, I'd say it's probably because Golden and PWCC are competitors, and Golden is also they are, partnered basically with PSA. Like they're all kind of under that same umbrella. So I'd say that's most likely, obviously, why PSA isn't on that list of graders for this program. So yeah, I mean, Indie Card Exchange, these are all like big names within the industry that I think have partnered with PWCC, which I don't know if they were the number one like account on eBay when it came to like buying or selling, at least. I have to imagine they were. So like their marketplace, they kind of brought on a lot of their customers. I think they've done a pretty good job. They've had some big sales of cards on their platform over the past few years. But I think this is kind of going towards like where I think cards should go, but also I think there should be maybe a little bit of a guidelines on sort of what ends up happening here. Like with cards, like I've talked about in the past, and I talked about this with Dustin in a previous, interview that we did. Like the cards, consuming cards, like buying cards, getting into breaks for cards, it's become so much easier nowadays because of the way, stuff like this, where it's like you can break and the breakers send the cards directly to PWCC. Like they send the cards directly to a vault, so you don't like. I'm surprised that ComC, I guess maybe it's, the owner of ComC maybe looks at it and says the business that they're running is sustainable and they want to just run the business the way that they want to, and they don't necessarily want to get involved in, a bunch of other things like PWCC, for example. This is like I don't know if necessarily it's an innovation. I guess like companies working with breakers isn't an innovation, but I think the breakers on this list, like I said, are some of the biggest breakers I think in the industry. I mean, Coffee Breakers, that's Dan Fleischman's company, who is with Steve Aoki as well. I mean, they kind of were one of the, I don't know if they were maybe the biggest company that was kind of created in sort of the pandemic era. Like Collectible was another one that was built sort of in the pandemic era. I'm trying to think. StarStock, obviously, unfortunately, didn't exactly work out. Dibs didn't work out, but like Coffee Breakers, they were a breaking company that if they're, I think for the most part, they're pretty much live 24/7. Like I wonder what the video was, but I think there was a video where Dan Fleischman was he was doing an interview with somebody and he was talking about how they wanted to be basically 24-hour breakers. So like they have breakers all basically around the world, like in all different regions. And I mean, I think that's super cool. So if you want to get into, breaks, I would say also too, like when it comes to reliability and not sustainability, but reliability and, I guess it's tough nowadays to really kind of bring up like the scamming aspect of it, but it's like, these are trusted names within the industry. And I think, Sports Card Radio has talked about, they've talked shit about Golden and then they, do a video where they buy cards from Golden. It's like, it's because it's the biggest marketplace that it has, a lot of guardrails when it comes to the, trustability. I think that's kind of the word that I'm looking for. So I think when you're looking at like, if you're trying to get into breaking, there are, maybe prices for somebody like Mojo Breaks is another one. For example, like maybe the prices are a little bit higher, but I think you're also getting a much better service from companies like this compared to just like a random breaker on Instagram or a random breaker on like TikTok or something along those lines. Cause I think TikTok, I do want to make a little bit of an update there. I think there was a ban on the breaking, but what ended up happening was that I think they just wanted people to register their business essentially with TikTok. So I don't necessarily I think you can still break boxes on TikTok. You just have to have like a business registered account on there. But yeah, so like back to the other point that I was trying to make, like when it comes to big names in the industry like this, I think what you're seeing is that you may potentially pay a little bit more for some of their breaks, but you're also getting like a much more reliable service. Like sure, you could go to that random breaker on Whatnot, or you could go to that random breaker, Loop or TikTok or Instagram. I mean, obviously when you're going to different platforms, you're going to see different levels of security, I suppose, is one way to look at it. Like if you're breaking with someone on TikTok or Instagram, they don't necessarily have the business standards or the ethics that, like, if you're breaking with somebody on Whatnot or Loop has. And if you're breaking with one of these companies, or you're breaking with a company that, you know, they may even have more than some of the companies on Loop or some of the companies on Whatnot. Because we have seen some of the issues with Whatnot over the past, couple weeks. There's been a couple very specific issues with like breakers just not doing, like, I don't even know, like, it just doesn't make sense, like, what even some of these breakers were doing. Like literally some breaker pulled a downtown and then just like gave it to someone off screen and like took the card. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. Like I could see also with breaking that they're going to, like, I could see companies like Topps and Panini coming in and saying, you have to have like a license, or you have to have some sort of second camera or third camera potentially. Like you have to have like a setup to run this breaking business. Like you can't just be somebody who, unfortunately is just somebody's hands, like on, because for the most part, like breakers, I think that there are some breakers that do it correctly. Like the breakers that brand themselves correctly, like with their face, with, multiple cameras, those are the ones that you can probably trust them a little bit more than like just a breaker who all you can see throughout the whole live stream is just their hands and then maybe the logo mat that they have. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I mean, I think that, like I said, breakers that are putting themselves out there and maybe who are working with other companies or, working with Loop or working with Whatnot specifically, like, I just think that in the future, we're going to see maybe and I hate for it to be maybe like monopolies at the same time, but like, I just think that you're going to have to see companies that are doing breaking be more like regulated, I guess is one word to use, but there's just going to have to be a higher standard for people to break these cards. Like you're going to have multiple cameras. You're going to have to, have like, even, I don't know, maybe somebody, I don't know, maybe not filming the shipping area, but like you're going to have some sort of fall safe for when it comes to like, they're not going to just be able to be like the retail king guy who like just took the card. Like he just gave it to somebody off a camera. And, that's just not going to be something that realistically is going to be, that's just not realistic for something that could happen in the future or should happen. It probably will, unfortunately, but it's not something that should happen. So, we'll see sort of where breaking goes, but I think this is maybe one way that it goes, like breakers working with, a company like a PWCC or a breaker working with a company like ComC, where instead of you getting your shipment of cards, the cards that you want to get shipped get sent directly to like your vault, or they get sent to somewhere where you can sell them online easy. Cause now eBay also has a vault as well. So the vaulting and the ease of sports cards, I think, are two of like the biggest changes we've seen throughout this industry. And I hope that we continue to kind of continue to see those industries grow, because I think it's going to be good for sports cards, and it's going to make it easier for people to get in, and for people to maybe buy and sell the cards that they're getting into. And it's just going to make the buying and selling of those cards easier for people that are getting in, if they're new or, experienced collectors as well.